So I'm going to tell you a story. It started about a year ago. A former student of mine, Andy Konwinski, who happened to found two AI companies that did really well. We got together for drinks nearby, and we bemoaned the fact about this, the discussions about AI were being dominated by the accelerationists and the doomers. And he suggested that it was time to try and do a vision paper, but this time to try and reach out to more reasonable people. We'd done one in the past just for technical people in cloud computing about 15 years ago, and it turned out pretty well as our highest cited paper. But he said, let's try and do this again, but let's now tackle AI. Okay. All right. A little bit slower clicker. So our views are it's early in practical AI, and there's still chances for research to improve its upsides and decrease its downsides. And we hoped there would be a thoughtful audience that would listen and read about this, even though we're dominated by, social networking. But we had to reach beyond just computer scientists, and for the public and for policymakers was our goal. Okay. I will have a difficult time keeping up with my time limit. Okay. If it's slow, okay. All right. So we put together an all-star team, senior people like me and rising stars. We interviewed 24 field experts, including the people on the screen, Nobel laureates, ex-presidents, and CEOs. So we came up with 5 guidelines. I'll talk about a couple of them today. The first is, if we focus AI on human productivity, it's going to be much better for the whole field. First of all, it'll make people more employable. If you have tools to help them be more productive, they're more employable. And secondly, they can help if AI veers off course to make it successful. So basically, we think by focusing on people's productivity, it helps both AI succeed and people succeed. The second, if we're going to improve productivity, let's improve it in fields that will increase employment. So remarkably, in 50 years, there are 8 times as many commercial pilots and 11 times as many programmers, despite tremendous gains in the computing power and in jet airline travel. And the reason that happens is what economists call this, is they call it elasticity. And that if the price goes down, the sales go up more than the price goes down, so there's actually more jobs. In contrast, if it's inelastic, it means the price goes down, it doesn't really increase sales, so there's fewer jobs. And in the United States, just one lifetime ago, 1940, it was 20% of us worked in agriculture, and now it's 2%. The third guideline is geography matters. In high-income nations like us, we worry about high-skilled workers losing their jobs. But in other parts of the world, there's just not enough expertise to go around. So Honduras, a country not very far from us, has 1/7 of the number of doctors as we do. So in low-income and median-income nations, if AI could make more expertise available, it could improve the cost of living, it could accelerate the economy, so it'd be a boon for them. So how are we going to motivate people in AI to kind of have this positive impact on AI? So our idea was in this report is to put concrete milestones that they could shoot for, and if they hit them, that would be better off, our society would be better off. And to motivate that, we decided we would use inducement prizes. So these would be $1 million prizes that if you hit the milestone, you would get the prize. And the best known example of inducement prize is probably the X Prize. We also wanted to be able to, sorry, the slides were updated because everybody uses Google Slides, okay. So there's another thing that can be done called advanced market commitments, and this is kind of like an inducement purchase order, is a government or other organizations can do a purchase order for something that doesn't exist that they want to exist, so it kind of makes a ready-made market for it. And then for areas where there's not enough research to hit the milestone, we would also do research centers. The idea was that, like ones we've done at Berkeley, these 3-year multidisciplinary centers that would set the research for these problems. And we're going to use not rely on the government, but use philanthropy from the people who prospered in the computer industry to fund these centers and these prizes. So here's an example that should hit close to home. We have about 20 milestones there, but something that mediates discourse. And you're familiar with the research here. In fact, one of the posters, I cite one of them right there. There's a lot of positives in this area. So how would the world look like if we did that? What would happen? Well, the National Academy's report talks about it could possibly double the rate of the gross domestic product growth in the United States. If it did that, it talked about reducing poverty, improving healthcare, improving the environment, stronger defense, and reducing the national debt if we could double that rate, and that's the potential here. Others have speculated it could rebuild the middle class in high-income nations, and as I mentioned, it can make expertise more available in the low and middle-income nations. So basically, I think one of the things to keep in mind when we talk about AI is it can be the biggest mistake to ignore the potential benefits of AI as to ignore the risks. Both of those would be big mistakes. So finally, towards the end of the end of our mission investigating this, which lasted 9 months, we thought we should do a moonshot like President Kennedy in the 1960s. And it was actually a pretty frustrating experience. How do we pick between a worldwide tutor that could teach everybody in their language, or a collaborator that accelerates science, or the civic discourse, or healthcare aid? And what we realized was we didn't have to pick one moon. If we set the blueprint right for AI, we can have 1,000 moonshots. Okay, that's my talk. Thank you.